So I see this weekend, there's been a few people that have been having conversation in regards to the hue color of Black people, how culture has come up with various divides on, who's Black, who's not Black, who's considered Black, and so forth. Okay. And I think it's a great conversation. I also wanted to add my little piece to that. So let's go ahead and get into it.
It's Black Lounge Entertainment, and the time is right with T-Pre.
Well, grand rising, everyone. I hope everybody is doing great today. It is Monday, so I hope everybody has a great day. Make sure you guys check out the weekly oracle that I put out for you guys yesterday. It was some great and powerful information if you so wish to do so. But I definitely wanted to talk a little bit today in regards to race and how this has become kind of a conversation lately within the sector and in other places. And I think it's a great conversation because there's a lot of people who identify as Black. Okay. And people tend to have pushback on that sometimes, depending on who they are, depending on what hue color they are, depending on what hue color their hair is, depending on what hue color their eyes are. And so there's this tendency to believe that if Black people have blue eyes or if Black people have blonde hair, that somehow, because of slavery or because of white invasion, this is the reason why, these lines have been divided and the hues have changed. But in actuality, that's not true. It's and there's been a lot of false information that has been put out on the internet, has been put in books, all kinds of stuff. And the purpose for doing that is to keep people suppressed. Okay. And it's not because of it turns out and it looks like it's all about race, it's all about color and color divides, when in actuality, it's just about keeping the people oppressed. Okay. So, for instance, there's been a lot of information that has been put out about, how Black people got to the Americas or how Black people got into, and it's particularly the Americas. It's not usually an argument when you have a conversation about how Black people got to Brazil or how Black people got to Mexico or how Black people got into South or, Central America. That's never really a question. It's just kind of oh, okay, well, those are Hispanic people. But, the color of the children that you see up on the screen, some of these children are actually from South America. Some of these children are from Malaysia. Okay. And you can't even tell the difference in who. And I purposely did not put where each child was from. Okay. You can actually Google some of this information. But the reason why I didn't put the land that they were from is because I wanted you to be confused for a second. Okay. I wanted you to look at the colors, the hues of the children, look at the different colors of their eyes, the chocolate baby with the big blue, beautiful eyes at the top. This is not a mutation problem. This is not some kind of genetic mutation. This is not some type of, her mother got raped by a white man. Okay. Literally, this child was born from Black parents, and those two Black parents carried genes that allowed her to have blue eyes. Okay. Black people and people all over the world have genes that allow us to create different colors, to create different hues of hair, to create different hue colors for our eyes, and so forth. It's just in us to do that because of the melanin in us. Okay. So if somebody says that they are a Black person, okay, it doesn't matter what society wants to say. It doesn't matter what history books are saying and what Wikipedia pulls up or any of that stuff. The evidence of Black people being able to produce any color, any gene, to produce any color of skin, any color of hair, and any color of eyes is something that Black people should be proud of and that Black people should be speaking of. Okay. Yes, I do not believe in race divides. I don't believe we should be dividing up people amongst, what part of the world that they're from or what part of the world their family is from, and so forth and so on, because I think that kind of keeps up the rhetoric that supremacy wants to hold over all people. Okay. Um, and it's important to understand the difference in supremacy and white people. Okay, or light people. Okay, because there's a major difference. Supremacy wants you to believe that lighter is better. Okay, that white is better, that whiter is better. The less melanin you have, the better, or the less melanin that appears, the better. Okay, they want you to believe that the light skinned slave was the house slave, okay, and that the dark skinned slave was out in the field. And these are the things that, and the rhetoric that has been put out in books and been put out on television, the propaganda that has been put out for us to believe so that we can continue to fight. We can continue to go back and forth with each other, and the divides will continue. And as long as we are continuing to fight over race, fight over color, fight over who's better, fight over what we shouldn't accept from Black people, where we shouldn't accept this person because they're too light. We shouldn't accept that person because they're too this, because their hue is too bright, or because their hair is too stringy, or their hair is too blonde. Okay. When you start talking about stuff like this, you're bringing yourself down, you're bringing our community down, and you're putting us in a box. You're saying that we are just not able, and we're not able to produce anything different than what we look at in the mirror. We're not able to produce anything else. All we can produce is only Black people with chocolate dark hair, with nappy hair, and our eyes must be dark. And if we're not that color, and if our eye color is not that color, and our hair color is not that color, then that means that we were enslaved, and that Europeans took over our family. And now this is why we have blonde hair and blue eyes in our families. And that is so sad that anybody would believe that. And it's true. It's not our fault that people are believing that. It's not our fault that that people really think that's true. And it's honestly because of what had the propaganda that has been put out against the people. If as long as we're continuing to believe, all of this BS, then we have something to fight about. We have something to go back and forth over. Okay. But no, there are Aboriginal Black people in every single land in the world. It doesn't matter where you are. Okay. It does not matter where you are. It doesn't matter what cultures have been created in their land. It doesn't matter what rules, what laws, what governments were established in their land. It doesn't matter. These are the Black people of the world. This is what we look like. This is our colors. This is our hair textures. There's various different hair textures you guys can see. The little baby has coily hair. The girl with the blonde in the middle that's smiling, the little girl, she has semi-coily and straight hair. And she looks like she got a wig on, don't she? The little girl over here on the side that's smiling with the blue eyes, she's got dreads in her hair. The little girl at the bottom, I think that's the little boy at the bottom. He has blonde hair, okay? But it's so straight. It's so stringy, right? Quote unquote stringy. The little boy in the middle, he's got a little bump on his head. Looked like he was playing around or something with his friends with the biggest smile. Look like little John from up the street, don't he? But look at those beautiful blue piercing eyes on that chocolate skin. Look at the little boy on the left. He looked like he's looking up in the sky. He looked like his eyes are the same color as the whites of his eyes. But his skin tone and the hue tone is darker than mine. The coiliness of his hair is darker than mine. So there's so many differences in us. There's so many different colors, so many different shades of all of us. We've got to stop fighting over stuff like that. And the bottom line is, if somebody says, I am a black person, now I'm not saying that just, everybody in the world can just run around saying that they black people. No, I'm not saying that. But if a person identifies as black, they have evidence of people in their family who are black people, then this is who they are. Why are we having an argument about that? Why does that have to be an argument? Why does that have to be pushback on somebody else's experience? Why does there have to be pushback on someone else and what they say is going on in their life? Okay, that's just the bottom line. No one else can speak for anybody else. And at the end of the day, if this is your race, this is your race. We are all one. Okay, we're all one. We don't have to fight and argue over race and over color, regardless of what culture, quote unquote, is trying to teach us and trying to say. It doesn't matter, because culture has been telling us for centuries that we're wrong about everything. Culture has been telling us for centuries that our skin is ugly, that our hair is wrong. Culture has been saying a lot of stuff. So are we going to pick and choose when we're going to go with what culture says? No, 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 no. At the end of the day, I'm not going to argue or go back and forth with anyone over their race, just like I wouldn't go back and forth with anyone over their beliefs or their religion. It's the same thing. And this is proof and more evidence of why we need to educate ourselves on who Black people are. We need to educate ourselves on the hues and the various hues of Black people, the various hues of our skin tone, our hair tone, and our eye tone, where the first man originated, and how if the first man originated in Africa, then that means that everybody has originated from Africa. Like, bottom line. I mean, I don't know what part of this is, not understood. So it doesn't matter what color you are. Okay. It doesn't matter what any of that. It just doesn't matter. It's funny because everybody wants to agree that the first man originated in Africa, but nobody wants to agree that human race is human race, regardless. There is no gender and color. There's no color divides. But for some reason, it gets mixed up there. And it's definitely because of spells. It's definitely because of lies. And it's definitely because history has taught us some fuck shit. Grand Rising to 11. I appreciate you being in the building. Shout out to you. Hey, Too Big for Skinny Jeans. You said good morning, T Pre and 211. And you said good morning, Too Big. And TMK, Grand Rising, I appreciate you, as well as everybody that is in the clouds. I didn't want to be long on this, and I didn't think it took a long, drawn-out discussion. And I also don't want to make this, a point of contention. I really think that it's important that we are having conversations like this, and that we're hearing all sides. But again, I'm not making this a point of contention or anything. I just simply believe that if someone's background is of African descent and they're aware of it, then that's just what it is. Even, and if they are aware of their descent and their family has let them know what that is what it is. Okay. There's no argument. There's no fight. There's no going back and forth. Let people be who they are, and we'll leave it at that. Again, I am concerned about, and I don't want people to just use our plight to try to go against, to I don't want people to use our plight to try to create, what they want for their own agenda. That is not what I want. I don't want to see people using, oh, I'm black, as a plight to go against, to go for what they're trying to accomplish. Absolutely not. I don't think that's right. But I also don't think it's right when we try to define other people based off their skin color, based off of their skin tone. This has been the whole problem here in the US, where the police, and I'm not that this has been happening lately, that's a whole nother story. But you know, the police killing us. They don't care what color we are. They don't care whether we light skin, dark skin, and all that stuff, as long as we not white, right? Well, I don't know how true that really is either. I think that's something that has been highlighted. That's propaganda as well. I'm not saying that black people aren't being murdered from the police, but how come that has stopped all of a sudden? Like, have y'all heard about anybody being shot by the cops lately? I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that this isn't happening. I'm not saying that this doesn't go on. It's just amazing that they use certain things. They use certain propaganda. Okay, they put certain things out in the news, fearing, getting people in fear, getting people to do this, getting people to do that. And then all of a sudden, when somebody else gets elected, now all of a sudden the cops just suddenly become morally correct and they stop killing black people. Are you serious? Come on now. We haven't heard about a black person getting shot in a while from the police. But when Trump was in office, the cops was killing people every other day. I mean, what's going on? So again, propaganda is constantly put out to get people to believe what they want to believe, to get people to divide the people, to get people thinking this and thinking that. And it's not always black and white. Everything is not always what you read on a piece of paper. Everything is not always what somebody said in a history book or somebody put on Wikipedia. You understand? Like, you got to actually do your own research within your own family. And unfortunately, black people, that's kind of where we're left at. Okay? Because there's going to be all kinds of TV shows to prove something opposite. There's going to be all kinds of stuff you can Google that's going to tell you that this little girl at the top, her grandmother was from Scandinavia. You understand what I'm saying? And they're going to tell you that this little boy at the top, the little boy at the bottom, his great grandfather was from wherever. Okay, no, we are black people descended from African history all over the world. That's it. And we're making this much more complicated than it really has to be. And we all need to ponder why that is. Who is the one that's causing the division? Who is the one that thinks that we should stop talking about this? Who is the one that says that no, bottom line is, if you have blonde hair and blue eyes in your family, there is no way that you are of African descent? Who told you that? Ask yourself these questions and ask yourself why they told you that. Because, like I said, if you hear something and it doesn't make sense, like it really doesn't make sense, then it's probably not right. And what I mean by that is, we've all heard that black people only come from Africa, right? Which is true. But black people in Africa spread out throughout the world, went to various parts of the lands, all over the place. And they set up shop and they established communities. They established a world. They established, other areas where people could live and just live off the land. They continued to go about all throughout the world. They learned how to navigate the oceans. They learned how to develop the mountains. See, these are actual things that black people did. The first plane was created by a black man, not these white brothers, these white right brothers. They lied to you. Okay? Yeah, we were flying around the world for centuries before that. See, these are lies that we were told. Okay? And all these divines and all these divisions and all these lines amongst people, they were lies. And I just want to put that out there. And I want everybody to think for just a moment why these lies were told. Why do they want us to believe that blonde hair and blue eyes only comes from Europe? Blonde hair and blue eyes could never be created by a black seed, by the Ra. Why is that? Think about that for today. And maybe we'll talk about it again later. I don't know. But I just wanted to bring that up. Again, this is not a point of contention. This is not an argument. This is not against anybody. And this is not about anybody. But this is literally just a conversation that I really believe we should be having with each other. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace, guys.